Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke. He is Luis Barranco. It is Sunday, March 29th. The first weekend of baseball is in the books. What a weekend it was. What a great feeling it is to have baseball back. Luis, how's it going?
My mental health is at an all-time high. It was in the dumps a week and a half ago, but now it is free bird. America is back. Baseball is back. Hot dogs are back. Flights are booked. I am going on a world tour this summer, and we're only going to be enjoying 90-degree weather and humidity. You know how crazy my mental health is right now, and how crazy like baseball got me to do things today.
What happened?
I decided to run today. I'm prepping for this half marathon I got here coming up here in the next couple of weeks. It was raining cats and dogs here in Miami. Of course, it's always raining during Miami Music Week during Ultra. I decided to run close to 8.5 miles today.
In the rain.
The humidity level was high and it rained. I was jumping puddles.
But you just got the good vibes from baseball being back.
It was just baseball being back. I was running on that bridge. That bridge was so humid. You can see the water coming out of the ocean.
Like the steam rising?
You can see the steam
The water
rising.
coming out of the ocean.
The water coming out of the ocean. My back is probably burnt to a freaking crisp. No sunglasses. I feel great. My body hates me right now, but guess what? It's baseball, baby. We are freaking back. Can we high five us right now? Like, let's go.
We've been waiting for 5 months for this. Obviously, we had the WBC, which was awesome. We were there. I loved it. But we haven't had like an MLB recap pod in a long, long time. So it does feel good to be back in that groove. We have a lot to talk about. It was a crazy first weekend of baseball. We're going to talk ABS. Spoiler alert, it's freaking awesome. We're going to talk the Skeens thing. We're going to talk Netflix. We're going to talk NBC and their broadcast packages. Alec Boehm, some drama there. Tony Vitello had some weird comments. The rookies are just going off right now. We're watching Sunday Night Baseball. Chase DeLauder has 4 home runs through his first 3 games. So we're going to talk about all of that. A really fun weekend of baseball. Let's start with the Yankees and the Giants series because that is where the season kicked off on Netflix Wednesday night. Yankees sweep the 3-game set. They made the Giants look like a middle-of-the-pack team, kind of what they are. Yankees win 7-0 on Wednesday, 3-0 on Friday with a great start from Cam Schlittler, who I know you love talking about. He's on your fantasy team. And then they won 3-1 on Saturday. Judge had 2 homers in the series. Like I said, Schlittler had a really good start. The bottom half of the lineup was working on opening night. We'll talk Vitello, but first, do you want to talk this Netflix broadcast? What we saw on Wednesday night to kick off the season?
I'm sorry. I mean, we're going to introduce a new segment. I don't want to step on the toes to that, but we're going to have a new segment on socials. Each week, me and William are going to interchange talking about things that we learned and saw, takeaways from the week. And one of the big takeaways this week I wanted to talk about, I'm not going to talk about that specifically, but something to that point. But it just felt off starting Wednesday night. Number one, I kind of feel like in every professional sport, and I think baseball just got it wrong, their opening weekend. I just feel, number one, every professional sport, the champion should always open out the season. I want to see, unless it's some unforeseen circumstance, like I think it's this year NFL that we're starting on a Wednesday this year NFL. But I feel like the defending champ should always get rig night under the lights the first night to open the season, and they should be playing a rival or they should be playing, a playoff matchup. Like, for example, if it was the Dodgers, we went on Dodgers-Padres, or maybe in the other year, Dodgers-Mets, or this year would have been Dodgers-Jays. Like, I need that, type of, energy, and especially coming off probably one of the better postseasons in the past decade, arguably. Like, that's number one. Number two, Netflix got it completely wrong with their broadcast in the sense that, the game was slated to start, I think it was like 8:08, 8:05. And, I'm training for this half marathon. I ran my 3 miles that I had to run on Wednesday. I ran them in 23 minutes, which was blazing. Like, I haven't ran that since high school, since I was freaking prime 18 and weighing like 200 pounds. So it was kind of shocking. I'm blazing to get home, and I open up my laptop, and it's like 8:15, and first pitch hasn't happened. First pitch didn't even happen until I think it was like 8:30. Like, there's way too much theatrics. And I understand, like, it is Netflix. They just paid a buku's amount of money, a boatload of money. Like, you want to have like theatrics and it's opening night, but that's kind of reserved for, the ring nights and the opening game for the champions. Like, why do we need like the game in San Francisco? That's just a question. And I think it comes down to, Netflix being based out of Northern California. So I think that kind of is the tie-in that, it's Northern California, they're going to get the game. And since they had to play the Yankees because of the scheduling agreements this year and how everything works, they needed a big draw. And that's kind of how it worked out. You're not going to want to start the Dodgers on the road for opening weekend unless there's some clear like conflict with Dodger Stadium. So,
yeah. And I do agree with the point that it should be the defending champs ring night, like have that whole ceremony, et cetera. I think the NBA does that too. Their opening night is usually the defending champions. I thought like Netflix right now they're parachuting in for these events. Like they had the NFL Christmas Day games. They had like that Tyson Paul fight a couple years ago at this point, but they're not known for sports, and they're kind of like doing the trial by like they're testing out sports, not even like trial by fire, I would say, but like they're not fully investing in sports. And you can tell right now they're kind of just using it as like a way to cross promote their other brands and TV shows, movies, whatever. Like a lot of Stranger Things references. I didn't like it. I will say I thought the booth was good with Vescursion, CC, and Hunter Pence, and the pregame booth studio crew was pretty good too.
My argument to that is, Vescursion does it for a living. He's known for baseball broadcasting. One, Pence has done work before with NBC not NBC, Apple TV. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And then CC, CC's still well within the game. And then they had Lauren Shahadi, who works for TBS. So it's kind of like, like you said, a lot of Stranger Things references, a lot of WWE references because, Netflix has WWE under its belt. But at the end of the day, it was just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a C. People really did not like it. I think they have to make a decision on if they want to go all in on sports, be known as a place that sports fans can go consume sports. Otherwise, they're just not going to be taken seriously as a sporting outlet. They don't have an MLB event until the Home Run Derby in July and then the Field of Dreams game in August. And that's it this year, I believe. I don't think they have any playoff series. So they're not really going all in with baseball. They're doing some dabbling, but I don't know. Good series for the Yankees. Judge, outside of Judge's home runs, didn't have the best at bats.
Before you continue on talking about like the series, can we talk about the score bug? That score bug was an abomination. Shout out. Well, you literally within like 5 minutes of the game starting, and Josh, we text Josh for baseball. We were like, this score bug is terrible. It was too big for me. And the
too big. Yeah, I couldn't read anything. I was having an aneurysm trying to read it.
It was too big for me. I just didn't like it. It was too clunky. That word was clunky.
Either way, I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter because they're not going to have a game until August. So,
what game are they going to have in August?
It's the Field of Dreams game. I think it's like Twins-Phillies this year.
Well, nobody's going to watch Twins-Phillies this year. Like
that's the thing with baseball. Yeah. With baseball, you need a marquee matchup for a nationally televised game. Like people aren't going to tune in outside of Philadelphia and
maybe Minnesota,
parts of Minnesota. Like it's not going to be that highly viewed of a game. And that's why I kind of agree with your point with ring night. Like, are the Giants that big of a national draw? Obviously the Yankees are, but how many neutrals were tuning into Netflix for Giants, Yankees?
Do you think Tennessee fans are tuning in on Wednesday night?
Maybe, and that's a good transition. So after the Yankees won 3-0 on Friday, it was the first time the Yankees have shut out their opponent in the first two games of a season. The first time in the Giants' 144-year history that they've been shut out in consecutive games to start the season. And Tony Vitello had some comments to the media post-game, and I think a lot of them kind of went viral. I can read them.
Read them.
He said, quote, I kind of put it on me a little bit. I got all fire and brimstone a few days ago, and I think some good words were shared, but I also think as of right now, it's a little emotional in there, and there are a lot of tryhards. Maybe it stems from that conversation prior to the season, or maybe it stems from all the opening day fanfare being the home team, but regardless, everyone wants it to change. And he goes on to say, but there's a pressing need in there for some feel good and also to want to perform for the fans. I saw it on our guys' faces, also in their hands, maybe when they're squeezing the bat. So to be honest with you, I'd blame myself. Maybe it's time to do what I can do to maybe ease any tension in there so guys can be free and go out there and play, because everybody on the field or in the stands know those guys can play that were in that lineup. This is 2 games out of 162. 2 games.
And you know what the thing is? I don't know if you're listening to the telecast back on third. Keep wanting to say Thursday, and again, I don't want to step on the toes on the clip we're dropping, but it's driving me crazy. Let's go.
Brendan Donovan homer.
Brendan Donovan homer. So there's going to be some choice words going into the fantasy baseball league group chat tonight with the newest team member of the league. So, but regardless,
I'm really glad you're winning after 3 days.
Hey, somebody was claiming the champion after day night 1. So
not me.
I was up at 6 a.m. driving for work, going on a work trip, and somebody was trying to proclaim their championship. But regardless, multiple people have done that in our league this week. But again, whatever. Back to my point. I don't know if you heard the telecast on Wednesday, but they were talking about how Tony Vitello, I think they have Jace Tingler on the staff, who has a lot of experience in baseball, and I think he was the manager. You can double check me. He was the manager of the Rangers, I believe, or maybe a Central Block team. I can't remember. But they were talking about how during spring training, Vitello was all over the place. Like he was going from one coach to another coach, like different areas of spring training, trying to coach. And they had to remind him, like, hey, like you have a staff. And they were talking about how, in college, the college staffs are much more smaller, and obviously they're going to have much less information and data and things of toys that they can work with in comparison to major leagues. So they had to remind them, like, hey, Tony, like you don't have to be everywhere. Like you don't have to not micromanage, but you don't have to be at 5 places at once, in the sense like you have a staff that is there to help you out and do the things. And so honestly, after watching this week's game, I don't think it's a Tony Vitello problem. Number one, these are my takeaways from the series. Number one, the Yankees are a wagon. I'm most impressed with the pitching staff, from the starting pitchers to the bullpen, which Max Fried had a great start. He got out of a little bit of trouble early on and then locked in. Cam Schlittler, can we be seeing the next ace for the Yankees? This guy is in full control with his four seam, cutter, and sinker. He is just, I don't know if you saw the overlay from Pitching Ninja. I don't know how you hit that guy, because of how he has the 3 pitches coming off of one straight pitching tunnel. It is crazy. And, he did this in limited fashion because, he's still working his way up because he missed time in spring training due to that injury. And he's still doing this. And like I said, preseason, I think he can be an all-star. Wouldn't be surprised me if he's the number 2 guy in the rotation come October, the way he can be pitching. He's an asset. The other thing, too, we need to talk about is how deep the Yankee pitching staff is in regards to, we see this with Schlittler and Fried. And then, we had a good start with Warren. I think we're going to have conversations here coming up in June, William, what are the Yankees' 5 best pitchers? Because you're going to get Rodon back at some point here in the next month and a half. Cole's going to be back here supposedly by June-ish, hopefully. You got Schlittler pitching well. Fried's pitching also well. You just acquired Warren. You have Weathers. And then, Weathers. And then you have Keel somewhere in the mix, chilling in AAA, which he can be pushing AAA. So it's what are we going to do? And then to add to the point, the bullpen was great this week. Bednar pitched well. Bird pitched well. I think that's one of the biggest things, that Bird and Doval looked like completely different pitchers this weekend, in the sense that, Bird, we saw his terrible outing here in Miami, and they sent him down, and now he looks very, very good. You have Doval with the sinker and sweeper slider. I don't know what it is, but coming off, and you still got Cruz and you still got Hill. So I think the Yankees have a surplus of arms, and it's going to be very interesting to track around this year as to who actually solidifies himself in those positions. It's going to be a competition. There could be a guy that gets traded, or it could get a guy that gets sent down. But I mean, there's a lot of guys pushing up in the minors too with Larange and ERC. So I mean, it's going to be like a Hunger Games, Squid Games type of fashion in that Yankee bullpen.
Yeah, a lot of depth. Warren was the good start, not a great start on Saturday night. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. I think he's the odd man out. Him and Heel right now are probably the odd man out. We'll see what we get with Weathers starting tomorrow in Seattle, late night series. But yeah, the rotation looked very good this week. The bullpen, Doval was probably the standout. Bird, that's very encouraging. With that said, and I think the next point you were going to make is I don't think the Giants are that good. And how much of the blame can you put on Tony Vitello when you could have prime Tony La Russa, prime Lou Piniella out there? And I don't think it would make that big of a difference because that lineup doesn't scare me. Logan Webb, what a brutal start from him. I still think he's a great pitcher. Robbie Ray had a good start too. But the lineup doesn't scare me. There's not one player that stands out. Adames, I mean, he's hitting 6th now. Arise gives you tough at bats. He's tough to get out. But it's just, I don't think that's a 500 team, kind of what we were saying preseason. Like they're just pretty average.
I feel worse about him after this series. Like the batting, the hitters did not look good. Bader looked tied up. I mean, we're seeing like that's a tough ballpark to hit in. And especially with the wind and everything, it's going to be a tough place, for them to manufacture runs. I just don't know how you look at a team like Vitello, probably feels a lot of the pressure being, having to be the guy to come from college over to the majors, having to prove himself to these players. But I mean, that lineup is just, look, I'm going to be honest with yourself. I don't think there's a single guy on that lineup that I'd want, to be honest. And yeah, I love Rafi Devers, but
that contract could not be good.
I'm just talking independently of the contract.
I know.
It's just like I don't know. Like building a roster, I think I would take 5 or 8 other third basemen right now than Rafi Devers.
Well, yeah,
maybe 10.
Yeah, I mean he's a DH though now, first baseman,
but still the bat. And so I don't know. I don't know. I'll just be honest. Like I look less about the Giants. I don't want to read too much into the bats. Giancarlo had a good series. I mean, Ben Rice, I think defensively this weekend did a really nice job. I mean, there's a couple things to work on in the middle infield and the first base defense. Cabby had a couple little miscues, but I mean, he had that one ball that hopped right into him, which I mean, that was just a terrible hop. But I feel like this team, the pitching is just that. I think that's a takeaway of the weekend, the pitching. Yep. And I think we're going to get into fights this summer into who should be called up and who should get sent down and who is on the trade block. And, we're right now very early on to the season. And for a lot of teams, a lot of these spots are up for grabs. I think if I were to ask you before the season, and you can confirm or not confirm, I think if you're going to 7, 8, 9 for the Yankees, it would be some combination of Tim Hill if it's lefties, Cruz if it's righties, 8th Doval, and 9 Bednar.
100%, yeah. It's nice that they have that solidified for a full season versus last year that was all kind of built out at the trade deadline.
But now I don't think that's the case. I think there's too many good pitchers in that rotation in that pen that I just think it's just going to be whoever's pitching hot at the time. There's too many options. If Bird keeps pitching well, I think Bird's going to get a chance at the 8th.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with Laranje, how he does in the minors. Let's keep it moving. I will say the Giants players responded to Vitello's quotes a little bit, and he said, we had Robbie Ray saying that we're all major league players. We can handle the ups and downs. It's one of those things that happened the first 2 games. It's not ideal, but you've got 160 games left, so what are you going to do with it? And then Patrick Bailey went on and said, I think we appreciate that sentiment, no doubt. At the end of the day, we're the ones with the bats, and we've got to go out there and get the hits. He said, apparently a reporter asked a follow-up question about pressing after 2 games, and Bailey said, we play 162 games. Can you guys relax? I know you have to write your stories, but let's relax a little bit, all right? I I'm just saying there's some brewing tension there already after one series. We'll see. I mean, this Vitello thing could turn into a total disaster, and he could be fired by June, or it could bleed into the full season. Who knows? They could turn around. It's 3 games.
Fired by June. I mean, what SEC job, William? You're my college guy. What SEC job's going to open up by June is the question.
I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know what Tennessee's got going on. Well, South Carolina, they fired their coach.
I mean, well, he can just go to South Carolina. Do they got good NIL there?
I don't think so. I don't think so. They used to be. Yeah. They used to be one of the top ones.
I know Texas hired Texas A&M, but regardless of that, I'm lower on the Yankees. William, not the Yankees, excuse me, the Giants. Giants, yeah. Well, I don't know. We're overreacting here. William, I want to talk about the Mets now.
Okay.
I think the Mets are going to be an interesting discourse this season. I think the Mets are going to be one of the, funnest teams to watch in the sense that, you never know what you're going to get out of them. I think every game's going to be a roller coaster. In the sense, we saw this weekend's games against the Pirates where, I think everything happened at City on Thursday where you had the birds colliding in right field and dying. You had the you had the things going on around the ballpark and the stadium where I think there was something that there's some transportation issues with the trains and they couldn't get in and they stopped the parking and everything. So it was just weird things. I just think all the games, just watching, they can't get runs. I mean, last night's game, it was a 42 into the 11th, and then the Pirates went 4-3. I just think they're going to be such an interesting team to watch defensively as well. I mean, Bo Bichette, the third base experiment, is not looking good. I was watching both of their games yesterday and today, and those throws are kind of wet noodle-ish in a way. You're all over the place. Jorge Polanco at first is also an experiment. I honestly don't know. It could turn into a comedy shop of horrors. I'm still high on the team, but I just think that you're just going to be a team that you never know what you're going to get out of night in and night out. And I think they're going to be a .TV team because it can either be a really great game or it can just be a disaster that you just sit back and laugh.
Yeah, and I think they said that Bichette had a throw from third that was 86.7 miles per hour, which would have been the fastest that he had from shortstop last season, something like that. And it didn't look, that's not very fast for context. The Pirates gave them a tough series. The Thursday game made all of the headlines because Skeens got pulled after 2/3 of an inning, which is definitely it was his shortest start of his career. But I think the biggest takeaway from that game was the Pirates offense. They scored 7 runs. They put up 4 against Freddie Peralta, who's supposedly the Mets ace. And then they won on today. They won Sunday. They put up 4 runs. They put up 2 on Saturday, didn't have any runs until extra innings. And then Robert had the walk-off home run. But Brandon Lau hit 3 home runs in this series, 2 on opening day. Again, if the Pirates are just middle of the pack offensively, this team's going to be a lot better. Because last year they finished last in home runs, OPS. They were one of, if not the worst offenses in all of baseball. All they got to do is be mid offensively, and this rotation will carry. Because Paul Skeens, that's going to be the worst start of his season. It's going to be much better from here on out. I think his career ERA was a 1.90, and it's now up to a 2.1 because of that start. And then on the Mets side, very interesting team. Carson Bench is an interesting addition. Hit the home run in his debut on Thursday, which the rookies went off. We'll talk about that as well. But McLean pitched today, 5 innings, 2 earned. They're a fascinating team. I still think they're the best team in the East. Might not be the best defensive team. I think you got to get Soto out of left field eventually. Put him at DH. But
they have multiple DHs on that team now.
Yeah.
But you see my point that you think it's just going to be a comedy show. It's going to be either a disaster or really, really well.
Really good.
The Mets are definitely going to have some blunders, and it's going to feed families. And the East did really well this weekend. And I think like you said, the Pirates deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Well, I know except for that one team, but we hit nail the head in the preseason with as so far if we're overreacting. But no, I enjoy the Pirates. I think the Pirates showed really promising signs. I think it's the O'Neal Cruz blunder, which made social media everything happened on Thursday in New York. You also had Joel Embiid saying, "Cruz, get ready to learn DH, buddy."
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
And then Jake Magnum was out there on Saturday and had made a nice play. I think he should just be the everyday center fielder, put Cruz at DH. They got to call up Connor Griffin. I mean, if once he's in this lineup, then I'll feel a lot better about it. But Lau with the 3 homers, Ryan O'Hearn homered on Thursday. Like, this offense can be better. Ozuna was getting heckled, but he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I know. I'm very high on the Mets this year. Look, I know we're very pro Yankee on this pod, but I think I'm going to be very interested in what happens to the Mets this year. Like, the Mets are fascinating to me.
You've been very anti-Met for the past few seasons, but now you're kind of coming around on them this season.
I've seen the light this offseason, and I've been watching. I watched the games this weekend, and I just think they're just going to be a fascinating team to watch. Like, everything happened on Thursday. Like, when I tell you everything happened, I literally am at work. Like, I'm in a work conference, like an hour and a half away from home. And I told William, you have to update me. And I literally went to lunch because I had lunch catered to me. And I go to lunch and I'm sitting down trying to catch up. And I see birds die. I see everything. It was just like, what is going on in New York?
Yeah, Skeens short start, birds, Benj, homer. Yeah, it was a
Ozuna chance. But honestly, the Pirates. O'Hearn had a nice play today. You had Devin Williams today. Devin Williams pitched yesterday, and Weaver did. They did the work. Yesterday's game felt like whoever could move the runner first would win. It was brutal. Terrible.
The weather looked awful.
That's just New York, man.
Yeah, this time of year. Let's talk Reds versus Red Sox because I want to talk ABS. I think that's one of the biggest storylines of the weekend. But Reds win 2 out of 3. Actually, tough start for the Red Sox. Crochet went 6 scoreless on Thursday. That was the lone win for the Sox in that one. Roman Anthony had a 3-for-4 game. Had a great ABS challenge at the end of that one. And then Saturday, the Reds won 6-5 and 11. CB Buckner, 8 calls challenged, 6 overturned. And then Sunday, the Reds win 3-2. Eugenio Suarez had a 3-run home run that ended up being the game winner. That came in the 6th inning. But CB Buckner, an absolute nightmare of a game. And I think ABS is freaking awesome. It adds this whole new element to the game where the crowd's into it. Like, you're directly challenging the umpire's judgment. And it's all played out in live time. The fans clearly love it. And CB Buckner had a terrible game on Saturday, and he got exposed for it. And the only people that don't like this are the umpires. And you could see umpires get run out of the game because they are just consistently getting calls overturned through ABS.
And the funny thing is, you bring that up about the umpires, and I don't know. Again, you were watching the Manfred discourse, which I think we got hoodwinked, we got gypped because of how quick of an inning it was in the Yankees-Giants game when they had it was
terrible questions. They were like, "What are your favorite opening day moments?" or something like that. It's like, guys, out of all the questions you could ask, that's what you choose. Yeah.
And when they asked them about ABS, they were like, "Oh yeah, the umpires are for ABS," which is great. I mean, but I think the key line what Manfred said is that they want to get the end of the game correct. Like, end of the game, calls right, which I think in a lot of sports, like in basketball, we see the L2M report, the last 2 minutes, and the challenges in football. So I feel like that's a good thing. But man, when you're missing so many calls, I think you should be put on probation as an umpire. I mean, are these the only umpires we have in the game? Is CB Buckner the only umpire we have in this country? Couldn't we just get somebody from the DR or overseas to come in and
the minor leagues?
Yeah, just call somebody up. Call them up. Call them down. Why can't we have it? It's like at work. Well, if you do bad at your job, what's going to happen to you at work? You either get fired, or you get demoted.
Yeah,
you got to put that open to work. You got to put open to work on LinkedIn.
They moved me off the account. Yeah, exactly.
So I look. I think ABS is a great thing. I talk about it more in the clip. Fans are getting into it. It's more riled up than how it is in tennis, which I think that's the most comparable thing. How it is that in tennis you have the challenge system that they have. I think it's great. It's only a matter of time before we expand this into like check swings and something like that of that nature. I think, but I honestly am so for it. But talking about the series now in general,
can I make one more point on ABS? It's also very fascinating to see, like, you can see how players, like, their view of the zone or their ability to judge the zone in live time. Like, for example, I was watching the Blue Jays A's on Saturday, and Denzel Clark challenged a pitch that was clearly a strike. It was well in the zone, and he thought it was a ball. He challenged it, got it wrong. And then later in the game, it was actually right before Alejandro Kirk's game-tying home run, where Kazuma Okamoto struck out, and actually he had a really good weekend, but he struck out on looking, and it was a ball, and he decided not to challenge it. I thought it was interesting. You can directly see like how players, how good their judgment of the zone is. So that's another aspect that I really like.
Yeah, and I know. Again, I know if you look up ABS this weekend, there's a lot of guys, and just stay tuned for the clip that's coming out soon on Instagram, and I talk more about the zone judgments and everything. But talking more about the Reds and Red Sox, I mean, Willie Abreu's looking like a player this year. 2 homers this weekend. Roman Anthony, I know he had that big game, was kind of slowed a little bit on the weekend, but the Red Sox kind of went through a tough, rough patch this weekend. Reds scoring some runs and not being produced by Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, Suarez doing Suarez things in Great American, which is a hitter's paradise, but again, the kids are doing really well. Sal Stewart had himself a weekend this weekend. He was hitting the cover off the ball. Reds pitching did well. They could have blown last night off that Emilio Pagan homer, but again, they came back and, Tony La Russa is doing a job up there in the Reds, but Sal Stewart had himself a weekend.
Is Tony La Russa like a special assistant or something? Do you mean Terry Francona?
You said La Russa earlier in the thought, and I was like, oh, man.
Same type of thing. Older manager. But yeah, Suarez had a good weekend. Sal Stewart homered and went on Saturday, went 3 for 4 on Thursday. And Drab had a good start. They don't even have Hunter Green back until sometime this summer, if that.
July. I mean, who knows? I mean, but that's the one thing about the Reds. The Reds are kind of in the way with the Yankees that they have pitching depth with the starting rotation. Like, they have a lot of arms they can mow through. Not to the same quality, but they have arms. Reds' question has always been, are they going to be scoring runs? I mean, something very positive this weekend was Matt McClain. He had himself a solid weekend, which I think he'll be a guy that if he can get it going. And, now when you look at that lineup, if McClain can get back to that form when he came in as a rookie, Ellie can do Ellie things. Sal continues to hit the ball well. Suarez is Suarez from Great American. You already got 4 guys who hit pretty decently. Tyler Stevenson's one of those guys that he's a solid bat in the lineup. You already got about 5 out of 9 of your players that can hit. It's just a question of like if the Spencer Steers and Key Brian Hayes of the world can hit the ball.
Yeah, I agree. There's reasons for optimism with that lineup this season. Let's talk Cubs Nationals. The Nationals actually took 2 out of 3 against the Cubs this weekend. Showed at Managa, had a rough start on Sunday where they lost 6-3. Cubs won 10-2 on Saturday, and then the Nationals won on opening day, Thursday, 10-4. The Nationals rotation this year is Cade Cavalli, Foster Griffin, Zach Littell, Miles Michaelis, and Jake Irvin. Might be the worst in the league alongside Sacramento. I think the biggest story, though, outside of Joey Weimer, who reached on his first 8 plate appearances, which is the 3rd time since 1961 that's ever happened. But the Cubs locked up their guys this week. PCA, 6 years, $115 million, no options, buying out the RBers, and then 2 years of free agency at $30 million, roughly a year. And then Nico Horner, 6 years, $141 million. Those guys are both locked up long term. Nico Horner, the 4th largest contract for a second baseman in MLB history. So yes, the Cubs lost the series, but I think clearly the biggest story from this week in Wrigley is getting those guys locked up, because with the Cubs, this narrative on them, like last offseason, was that this team doesn't spend any money for all the money that they're bringing in. Everyone kept showing that chart of revenue versus expenditures on the payroll, that discrepancy that the Cubs had. But now that they brought in Bregman, They extended PCA. They extended Horner. They're doing the business. I know Ian Happ is a polarizing guy among Cubs fans, and he seems like he's on his way out. I think that should be the next guy they look at trying to extend. And I also think they need to go out and get they don't grow on trees, but they need an ace in this rotation. It could be Cade Horton. But when I look at the Cubs and what sets them apart from teams like even the Phillies and definitely the Dodgers, the Yankees on the American League side of things, like they don't have that bona fide ace, that dude that is going to be your game one starter that you're terrified of. And I know it's early to talk about stuff like that, but I think that's what sets the Cubs apart a little bit, because I really like this lineup. Bregman had 2 home runs on Sunday in the loss. They only had 4 hits, but I think that's what they're lacking.
I mean, it was tough conditions in Wrigley up in Chicago this weekend, very windy. So again, I mean, you know how that place gets when the wind's out there. I mean, Ian Happ hit a nuke that we looked at on Statcast. That would have been a home run in normal conditions, but the wind kept it in on Thursday. But again, I think my takeaways from the series, I actually caught a little glimpse of it. I saw yesterday's game because it was the only game on at the time for a while before Toronto and Sacramento came on. Jed Hoyer came on the marquee sports telecast and talked about, the PCA, how, they just like the PCA character. And, there's a lot of good things coming out of the Cubs clubhouse. And I know you talked about it a lot, and I know you and Kayla have been chatting about this, but it just seems like there's really good vibes coming out. I mean, Bregman's getting along really well with PCA. You saw the team today after, the tough loss today, losing against the Nationals, who I'll talk more later. They lose, and, not much media was there, but the team stayed there to watch Nico's, extension being signed there after the game. So it's just the little things. And I think, yes, this is a tough opening weekend, only winning one against one of the league's worst. But I think, if you have a clubhouse that is connected, you have a culture, you have a bunch of guys that play for each other, love each other, and show up for each other, I kind of feel like this will only over time get better, and they're going to get better. Again, the Nationals are terrible. Fundamentally, I watched that game yesterday, and some of the fundamentals I saw coming from I'll be honest, I watch a lot of baseball, and I know a lot of the game, but I've never played it. But just the fundamentals are just terrible. Just watching the pop-ups getting dropped, it was like even the fans got involved yesterday, rooting for them to drop balls. Like, oh, they're going to drop it. It was like, I can't remember what inning it was, but it was the big inning that the Cubs had, that they dropped routine fly balls in the outfield, and not even outfield. It's shallow outfield where, the shortstop and second base aren't together. The infield and the outfield aren't talking to each other, and the ball just drops. The pitching's not great at all, as you said earlier. Nobody in that lineup scares me. I mean, James Wood just got lucky hitting a ball off Cade Horton, and I think the next stage in Cade Horton's maturation is he needs to put away guys. I think he's really good at getting outs, but he doesn't have that, put away pitch or put away mechanism yet in his arsenal. Yes, he is efficient. He does get ground ball outs and gets outs, but I need him to just, when you get him to 0-2, 1-2 counts, 2 strike counts, we need that put away pitch. And so, again, tough weekend for the Cubs, but I think there's a lot to root for there with, the whole PCA extension. Bregman's bring a lot of good juice to the locker room. I don't know if you've seen his social media and his letter talking about his son. And then, Nico even mentioned Ian for showing up today, which I feel like, because they're close, they both came up together. So be very interesting to see what happens with Ian moving forward. And like you said, I think the one thing the Cubs do need is, that one ace. Again, let's play matchmaker. When you look at the bad teams in the major leagues, there's not many aces that could be available. The only guy you would think of and probably won't be available would be Tarek Skubal. But again, he won't be available.
Yeah, maybe Sandy Alcantara, but they just traded with the Marlins, and the Marlins had a good weekend, which we'll get to later. I don't know who it is. Maybe you hope Cade Horton develops into one. Justin Steele's coming back from Tommy John at some point this season. He probably won't be fully 100% ace level Justin Steele. So Shota Imanaga, I mean, he settled down after the home run early today, but he's not an ace. He's a guy that gives up a bunch of home runs. Like, that's kind of who he is. So I don't know who the guy is for them.
You want interesting. I know it's early in the season, but you want something interesting to just float out there.
Sure.
What if Seattle is in contention they're going to be in contention for the West? Like we know Seattle is going to be there with Toronto and New York and like the big teams in the league. What if they just like have issues scoring runs? I know right now they're playing right now, and a lot of their runs are only coming off homers. What if they have a surplus in pitching, and what if they do Ian Happ for a pitcher?
Well, Randy's out there and left. Center, J-Rod, right field. Yeah.
You move Randy over to a DH role or something, or
thing is you don't want to take those DHABs away from Cal Raleigh on his days off. I could see it though. They need an extra pitcher in Chicago. So
what do you want to go to now?
Let's just go in the Central. We'll say quickly with the Brewers and White Sox. White Sox got swept 14-2 on Thursday, 6-1 on Saturday, 9-7 on Sunday. Mizorowski, 5 innings, 11 strikeouts on opening day, most by a Brewer ever on opening day, I believe. And then the White Sox, they had 20 strikeouts in that game. I guess the good news, though, for the White Sox is that Murakami had 3 home runs in this series. The Sunday game was fun. The Brewers were down 7-2, but then scored 6 in the 8th, capped off with a Christian Yelich 3-run homer, which was the difference. They got the win. McGill came in for the save. But yeah, Murakami, 3 home runs, 3 games. He could be something.
Hey, future Dodger here in 2 years.
That's the funniest thing, man. 2-year deal, very cheap. They're like, all right, let's see what this guy can do in Major League Baseball. They extended Max Muncy for 1 more year. And he very well could be a Dodger once Muncy comes off the books. and he's a proven MLB player at that point.
Just putting it out there. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't catch much of this series. I mean, the Brewers do the Brewer things. I mean, Brewers are doing what they need to do, man. I mean, these are the series, like I said, these are the series that we're going to look back on here in September. And, we'll be looking at the Central race on who's winning the Central race. It's going to be tight as we predicted. And we'll be looking at that, the Brewers are beating out the bad teams and catching up those W's while the Cubs are coming out the gate a little bit limping, a little bit hungover, celebrating these extensions and whatnot, which is great. But, there's going to be a real difference in the NL between, getting that bye in the first round or having to play that series to get in. So,
and every game counts. Every game counts. Exactly. Saw it as a Yankee fan last year. Where do you want to go? We have Baltimore, Minnesota. I don't have much from that one. Trevor Rogers had a really good start. Tyler O'Neill's home run streak on opening day was broken. First time he didn't homer on opening day in 7 years. Fun ending to that one on Sunday.
Yeah, which, the ABS thing with Derek Shelton getting thrown out the game. But I mean, man, it just does not look good for Baltimore. I don't know why. There's just something that I watched the game yesterday, and that I only got one game with them this weekend against Minnesota. You look at a team on paper, and we both look at a team on paper, and that team should be, good. They should be loading and being as one of those upper echelon teams. But man, they just don't. For some reason, they don't look good. Gunnar Henderson, I know he had that decent WBC, and he's out there getting frustrated after first weekend. Like, have some temper, and I'm not going to criticize him or anything, but you got to have some temperament and be I know we're perfectionists in some sense and we chase excellence, but man, we're just getting the season going and we're already acting this way in a sense. Pete Alonso's okay. The pitching struggled. Baez struggled again. He got the extension and he struggled. Something's just not right in Baltimore. Is it just not the right cast? Maybe I know I'm overreacting. We got to wait and see what happens after the first month, but I'm clearly noticing something's up. You should be beating Minnesota.
Yeah, Helsley with 2 saves. I don't have much from this series. Trevor Rogers looked like the ace that he is, and the ending to the game on Sunday was funny with Derek Shelton crashing out over ABS. There was some funny tweet you're arguing with a robot or something like that. So I don't have much from that.
Yeah, that was a. Let's move on. But I don't know. I want you to watch Baltimore this week. That's my homework for you. Watch a little Baltimore. There's just something missing. I don't know what. They may need some seasoning. I don't know.
Let's see who they need some Old Bay seasoning. They play Texas and Pittsburgh. That Pittsburgh series will be fun next weekend.
That'll be an interesting one. I'll be tapped into that one. I don't have anything from the Angels Houston series. I mean, the Angels were great this weekend. I mean, they're kind of been a surpriser, but I think this is just typical Angel behavior in the way that they start out really hot and then they come crashing down to earth immediately. And the Astros came back yesterday. They were down 6-0, and then they scored 3 in the fifth and 8 in the sixth, coming back to win 11-9 yesterday. Amaya was not great today. I just think, with this series, I think the Angels are just catching teams sleeping, and I think Houston might be a team that's going to struggle this year.
The Angels started out the season 2-0 for the first time since 2007. Then they lost the next two, so they split the 4-game set. Jordan homered on, what was that, Friday night? Trout got off to a really, really good start. Was 8 for his first 10, I believe, but then cooled off over the weekend. 1 for 3 on Saturday, and I don't know what he did today, but 3 for 4 on Friday, 1 for 2 on Thursday. Home runs in the first 2 games of the season. So he's off to a good start. That's good vibes. But they split the series, so yeah, not a ton of takeaways there. Jordan Romano picked up a save on Friday or Thursday. This was a 4-game set to start the season, kind of rare. And yeah, Tatsuya Omai did not look good in his debut. 2 innings, 4 earned runs. But yeah. Not much from that one. Detroit, I have some things that I do want to talk about. They win 2 out of 3 in San Diego. Kevin McGonigal is the story from this series. 4 for 5 on his debut on Thursday. 2 doubles, 2 runs, 2 ribbies. And then on Friday, actually, McGonigal had a home run robbed by Jackson Merrill. And then he had that great 10-pitch at bat in the 8th inning, which finished with a 2 RBI single. Gave the Tigers a 4-2 lead late in that game. Tigers won that one 5-2. And then Saturday, the Padres salvaged the series, winning 3-0 behind a great start by Randy Vasquez. And Mason Miller picked up the save. But that Tigers team is scary because if Kevin McGonigal is going to be like a legit piece for them, which it seems like he is, I mean, this dude looked like a legitimate major league ready. He looked like a veteran, honestly, in this series. And you pair that with Tarek Skubal, game 1, Framber Valdez, game 2. Like, that team is scary. I'm telling you, we did like a hot take thing before the season. In that weak division, I don't think it's insane to say this team can win 95 to 100 games. I think they're that good.
100 games. I mean, Framber had a good start on Friday. Skubal had a good start as well. I mean, look, they have Jansen. Their back end is also solid. It's, you got Kenley Jansen, who's been there in World Series and finished the door off. And then you got Kyle Finnegan, who's closed before, who's going to be their 8th man there. The question's always been with the Tigers has been the lineup. And if Kevin McGonigal can be a guy who can come in and produce for you and add some juice to that lineup with Riley Green, and if we can get a little bit of Torkelson from last year, man, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you get the 100-game Tigers this year. Again, the Padres, I mean, their concern has always been the pitching, but when you got guys like Skubal and Framber, that's 2 wins you can think about in the 2 wins you can think about in the playoffs.
Exactly. And then if you're playing in the division series, you only got to win 1 more. And Jack Flaherty wasn't great on Saturday, but still kept him in the position to win the game. It'll be interesting to see who ends up being their number 3 guy.
Verlander for the vibes. Verlander for the vibes. That's what I'm saying. If Verlander can come in and give you 6 innings and he can hand the ball over, you only need 3 innings. You only need find their 7th inning guy. And you know who pitched this weekend and pitched really decently? The Jesus from Venezuela. The guy who pitched against Japan.
Wait, he's on the Tigers?
Yeah, he pitched this weekend.
Emmanuel Deus. Yep.
So, hey, I'm telling you, the Tigers are something. I don't have much on San Diego. I think San Diego, I'm going to wait because I think Detroit is could be the class of the AL. So I don't want to put panic. I'm did enjoy the Mason Miller walkout. I don't know if you saw the walkout with Mason Miller. Electric corn. That's one of my takes this week. We need more closer walkouts like his. Again, I feel like a lot of these closers are going with the new school, upbeat music, EDM music, but we need the old school closers. Rivera came in to enter Sandman. Trevor Hoffman came in to just, rage. We just need that. We need those vibes back. Feel my words.
I mean, I guess we can transition then to the Dodgers series.
Takes on that one. I watched
Okay,
a
so
lot of that one.
the Dodgers sweep the 3-game set. Edwin Diaz picked up 2 saves. They went with the live trumpet, which electric in idea. I think it was better in New York. I don't think the trumpet performance was the best. I'm going to sound like a hater. I like the idea. I think the execution was a little bit poor.
Yeah, I just look. One thing I did say, I think I said it back in our discussion when I went to the game for the wild card round against the Reds. The presentation at Dodger Stadium is second to none. It's definitely Hollywood out there. You definitely got the stars there. They definitely got all the stars doing clips and everything for the Jumbotron. So the presentation is going to be elite. Now, you saw ring night also. They had, I think it was Snoop Dogg. They came out in the car, and Will Ferrell. They came out in the Impala. The presentation's great. Now, Edwin, I think you need to change the walkout song. Again, I think that's something for New York. It's just like in New York, it had a different feel to it. Like the fans got into it. In LA, everybody's like it's like Laker games in the sense that everybody's like clapping in the lower bowl. Like it's not like the fans in New York.
Clapping.
Yeah, it's a golf clap. The fans in New York are like going on with it. And like, don't get me wrong, like it's still a great walkout, but I just think it's time to retire. And somebody on Twitter, I can't remember said it, but when Jonathan Papelbon left the Red Sox to go to the Phillies, and when he was in Boston, his walkout was I'm shipping up to Boston, and he had it in Philadelphia. So I just don't think that's just kind of like I get it. Maybe just put some Bad Bunny. Put something. I think the fans out there will receive that as well.
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican. Dodgers win 8-2 Thursday, 5-4 Friday, 3-2 Saturday. Will Smith with the clutch home run in the 8th to give the Dodgers the 3-2 lead there. Look, they look unbeatable. They are a very challenging lineup to get through, even if you're up 5-0 in the 6th inning. Like you feel like, this Dodgers team can still come back in it. They had 2 comeback wins in this series, or not. Maybe all of them were comeback wins, actually. Kyle Tucker looked like he fits in well with this lineup. Mookie Betts looked good, had the home run on Saturday, 3-run home run, go-ahead home run in that game. They look like the part. But I will say this. If there are fans out there looking for some silver lining with this Dodgers team, because right now they look absolutely incredible, I think the silver lining with the Dodgers is that they could literally go 162-0, win every single game, which is unfathomable. It won't happen, but in theory, they could win every single game, and it would still come down to a best out of 5 series in the division series. So it doesn't matter how many they win in the regular season. It's all going to come down to that best out of 5 and then eventually 2 best out of 7s, which it's a lot hard. I don't think anybody's beating the Dodgers in a best out of 7 series, for being honest, but you have a chance in the best out of 5 where I feel like the variance is maybe a little bit greater. That's like the only silver lining I have right now with the Dodgers, because that team looked incredible this weekend.
But I think that's just with the Dodgers. Here's the one thing. I think the Cubs fans had a tough weekend. I understand Cubs fans, had, the feel goods of everybody getting extended and having the core for the future. But man, oh man, does Kyle Tucker look like he fits in out there? Kyle Tucker looks like he's having fun. I don't know if it's because of the reduced expectations, because he's not the guy that he's now, having not to be that guy in Chicago. Now he just has to be, a supporting actor instead of the main actor for Hollywood terms in LA, because he was stealing bases. Mm-hmm. He was, he robbed Geraldo Perdomo of a home run, who I'll talk more about later. He was making plays. He was hitting the ball. Like he looked like he fit in. He's emoting on the bases. Like, I don't know what they have in LA, but he definitely looks comfortable out there. And, he's firing. Freddie's firing too. Ohtani's firing. The boys are up for it. Edwin Diaz is shutting down games, and he looks comfortable. I know his wife's been doing on Instagram reels about how moving to LA, he looks comfortable. He got the whole family out there from New York. Man, like I said, the Dodgers are absolute wagon. And, like I said, I think the silver lining that goes to them is, like, can they stay healthy for me? If they can stay healthy, I think it's going to be a really tough out, because all those guys are playing good ball. Again, it's kind of like a sick addiction. Like, I know athletes and people, we're all sick to an extent. We're all insane. We're all clinical to a point. but it was Ohtani's giving the whole team out on ring night. He's giving out Seikos to all the players, and it says like, "Let's go win a third one." Like that's
okay. He's got that Jordan mentality. Like he's just a insanely driven, only focused on winning, great teammate. Like I don't understand the Ohtani hate. I don't understand how you can't like appreciate the greatness that we're witnessing, and just he seems like a really fun dude, goofy guy. Dodgers keep winning these games. They'll be in the playoffs. Like, I enjoy watching them. I know a lot of people hate watch the Dodgers, but I like watching good baseball, and the Dodgers play good baseball. It's a beautiful stadium. Now it's actually Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium, which I think is a farce.
Some money.
But, and I'll say this, I work in marketing. So I think it's interesting, like a strategy from Uniqlo there, because yes, we're sitting here talking on the podcast about Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. I think for something as like sacred as Dodger Stadium is, yes, you have the naming rights to the stadium, to the field, but the publicity is overwhelmingly negative versus positive. Like, yes, everyone's talking about Uniqlo, but it's like, oh, Uniqlo is now, they have the naming rights to the field.
Dodgers got to find a way to pay that deferred money out some way or another in the next couple of years. So
all the money they're making off Ohtani, they're making billions off the guy.
And I'll just say this: I just think, Kyle Tucker. Look, if I'm a Cubs fan, I am just like, I can only imagine Kayla watching clips this weekend, and she's just like infuriated about like. So it's like the best analogy I give it is just like you're dating somebody, and that person breaks up with you. And then they go with somebody else and they're having a way better time. You're like, oh, so now you're going to do the things that I wanted you to do with me? Like, really? Like,
we were watching the game on Saturday, and Tucker came up and she was like, ugh. It was like an audible ugh, disgust.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like seeing an ex doing the things you wanted them to do with you. And they're doing them and they're smiling about it. They're enjoying it. So look,
exactly.
I want a hot take before we move on to the series. I mean, not many takeaways from Arizona, but I think if it continues, we could have the conversation about Geraldo Perdomo being the best Diamondback on that team, and maybe a top 3 shortstop, maybe being number 1 shortstop right now.
Could see it. Number 1 shortstop. I think Lindor might struggle a bit this year because of the hamate bone. I mean, Bobby Witt. He's not as good as Bobby Witt.
Yeah, but Perdomo's playing good ball, man. Perdomo's playing good ball right now.
He's underrated. If he can back up what he did last season with another great All-Star season, MVP vote season, yeah, I think he's in the conversation of top 3 to 5 shortstops in the league. If Gunnar needs to turn it around a little bit here. All right, let's move on. Let's talk the other team that made the World Series last year.
Oh, I was going to talk about another series. I was going to save them because we're going to talk a lot about them. I was going to talk about just run through a couple clips.
Okay.
Colorado, Miami. Miami Marlins swept this weekend. Again, I think Cubs fans are right now grasping their fists with like Arthur style in the sense that Edward Cabrera better be something because Owen Casey had himself a weekend. I mean, he had the debut RBI double, and then he had the walk-off 2-run homer today. So, I mean, could be a building block for Mr. Peter Bendix and company with the Marlins. Any takeaway? Did you watch any of that series?
The Marlins uniforms today, beautiful. The teal, great.
You know what they're calling them?
Mm-mm.
Sunday's best.
I like that. It's a good marketing strategy. Sandy looked really good on Friday. I think he could be back. I know it's the Rockies, but 7 scoreless, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. The stuff was there. And they're 3-0 for the first time since 2009. So the vibes are good in Miami right now. And I know it is the Rockies, so it is that key caveat there. But Owen Casey could be legit. Could be legit.
Tovar was getting some good swings this weekend, but nobody in that lineup, I fear.
In Colorado, no,
nobody. I think, yeah. Kansas City, Atlanta. I wasn't able to watch a lot of that series. Acuna's been struggling out of the gate, or struggling early. Braves won. I mean, Braves are rebounding from last year. I mean, I think, again, like we said earlier with the NL East, I mean, the NL East is proven its worth. As we said, it's going to be one of the harder divisions in baseball. Braves won 2 out of 3. Salvi Perez had an ABS Demon clip, which I recommend everybody watching. Our clip that we talked about it today. The Royals won. I think the biggest takeaway is that Carlos Estevez blew up last night, and Dom Smith had a walk-off grand slam. So, Braves getting the dubs, and good to see the Braves finding a way to get wins right now in a critical portion of the season with all their injuries in the rotation that they have.
Yeah, interesting stat from Friday. Cole Reagans got the start for Kansas City. Did not give up a single home run to a lefty all of last season. He gave up 2 to the Braves in that game. Michael Harris and Drake Baldwin. Drake Baldwin had 2 home runs in the series, but yeah, not much from that one. Braves win 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. So a good start to the season for them.
Yeah. So next series, I know Alden was really happy. Alden was about to get to pop his. He's about to pop off on the chat tonight, but unfortunately, the Cardinals were not able to get it done today. Cardinals won 2 out of 3 this weekend. They lost today 11-7. Chandler Simpson had a good weekend, but I think the story is again JJ Weatherholt, which I know you've kind of been wanting to talk about the kids and talk about the rookies this season. JJ Weatherholt had himself a series.
Yeah, that's another rookie outside of McGonigal, Sal Stewart that we've already talked about. But Weatherholt had the walk-off 2 RBI single off Griffin Jacks on Saturday, and then he homered in his debut on Thursday in their win. That was a crazy back-and-forth game on opening day. 9-7, Cardinals won that one. They overturned a 7-1 deficit, scored 8 in the 6th inning, 14 runs total in that inning across both teams. But, yeah, Weatherholt looks like he could be a real piece. 4 for his first 13 in the big leagues with a home run and a stolen base, 871 OPS. It's a long, long season. Players are going to they're going to adjust to him, but it's a good start. And I'd be excited if you're a Cardinals fan, because heading into the season, we didn't really know what to expect from this team. Didn't really think there were any exciting players. He is definitely one of them.
You got Weatherholt, you got McGonigal, and then you got the other demon out there right now in Cleveland right now, Chase DeLauter, who they're playing right now. But Guardians, they've been split. DeLauter has 2 homers in his 3rd MLB game, and he had a 2-run homer last night, which was the difference, getting some insurance last night. But, it just goes to show you that baseball is in good hands. The future of the game, there's some good up-and-coming stars and superstars. You got Weatherholt, DeLauter, McGonigal. Those are just a few guys that are just tore up. Owen Casey can get added in there. Cam Schlittler as well. He had it just shows that, once these guys go up and, the Mookies, the Freddies, and, the judges go out, like, it's in good hands.
Yeah, Bobby Witt, the headliner there. Haven't even seen Connor Griffin get called up yet. Yandy Diaz was 5 for 6 today, by the way. 4 RBIs and a double. He had a great game. Jonathan Aranda had 3 hits, and the Cardinals took the series 2 out of 3. You mentioned the Seattle series. I don't have much from that one besides Chase DeLauter hitting 4 home runs in his first 3 games. Looks like they're going to lose tonight, so it looks like they are going to split the 4-game set. And yeah, the Jays. I think that's the last series that we have to talk about.
We got a couple more before the Jays.
Texas.
Yeah, we got a couple more, but with the rookies, we can't just gloss over the rookies with PCA as well on Sal Stewart. But
PCA is not a rookie though.
But
young player,
like very low service time. Texas and Philadelphia. I didn't catch much of the series. I caught bits and pieces of it, but man, it is tough out there in Philadelphia. Texas getting 2 out of 3 this weekend. Big news out of Texas is that Jacob deGrom was scratched with neck stiffness from his start this week. Again, it's just unfortunate for a guy that has so much ability and that is a must-watch TV guy. Continue to battle with these injuries, but Texas getting those wins. Winning yesterday in extras, getting Andrew McCutchen had that clutch hit off of Johan Duran, and then today the Rangers won 8-3. So it's tough in Philadelphia. I don't know what we're gonna talk about Philadelphia. It's like we talked about it. It could get dark.
It's way early, so I don't want to take too much away from them losing 2 out of 3 to Texas. But there was a sad story. Alec Boehm suing his parents. Apparently, his parents set up 2 LLCs that they claimed required them to hold 10% interest. And basically they just took a bunch of money from him. Pretty sad. And the suit alleges that they used funds from the Alec Boehm Foundation, which is his charity, to pay their own personal expenses. And now, Boehm kind of noticed it. Boehm asked for documentation from like the LLCs, I guess, and then his parents lawyered up instead of providing an expense record. Basically, crazy story. They said that they wanted to like run and take care of his financials because they said that he shouldn't hire a financial advisor because those people shouldn't be trusted with the money that Boehm is dealing with. And that's just an ugly story.
No comment.
He homered on opening day when it all got public.
I think he's one of those guys that needs to get out of Philadelphia. Like, I think he's one of those guys that needs to end up like one of these like Cleveland's, Kansas City's, Detroit's, like central block teams. I think he'll flourish. I'm a big fan of his profile. I just don't think he's just a fit in Philly. He's always in the trade deadline rumors for some reason. He's a decent player. I just don't think it's a fit.
Yeah, there. I would agree.
Finally, I think the big series we got to talk about is Oakland and Toronto. I mean, Gausman and Cease were demons on Friday and Saturday in the sense that, 11 Ks for Gausman and Cease went and struck out 12, which is the most for a Jays pitcher in their franchise debut, topping David Price's 11 in 2015. Again, the Jays are winning. Okamoto looks really good. I read this stat. I love Sportsnet. I would like to give a clap for Sportsnet's presentation. I love this. And they were saying that I can't remember when was the last time, but it's been a long time since the Jays starting 3-0. I mean, the Jays got a really easy schedule. And I want to highlight this to listeners. We could be seeing a collision course here soon. The Jays have the Rockies coming to town tonight, come to play tomorrow from Miami. White Sox then, and then after they get the White Sox, the Dodgers come to town. It's going to be Toronto versus LA in Toronto, first time since Game 7. And we could put money on this that they go undefeated till they play the Dodgers. Just how bad the White Sox and the Rockies are and, how good that pitching is for Toronto. I could see a world where they're undefeated.
I could see it. They look really good. The pitching staff, Gausman, Cease, both really good. They set the MLB record for most strikeouts in the first 3 games of any season with 50. They had set the franchise record for most strikeouts in a 3-game series, again, with 50. Part of me wonders with the Jays, with the way the Jays won some of these games this weekend, the walk-off on opening day and then the walk-off on Saturday, clutch hits, timely hits. Jays fans are probably like, where was that in October? Where was that in the World Series when we were so close? We just needed one of those. They would have traded both of these games for the World Series last year. But nonetheless, I just thought it was kind of a little bit ironic that that's how the Jays started the season with 2 straight walk-offs when they were so close to winning it last year. I know that hurts to bring up for Jays fans, but just something I thought was interesting. Also had Steve Kerr sending John Schneider a letter after Game 7 of the World Series last year, the day after. That was a class move by Steve Kerr. But the Jays look like they're going to be a juggernaut again this year. They look like they're going to be really, really good. Okamoto's at-bats were nice.
I told you about Okamoto during BC. I mean, his bat the ball. I know you missed a couple because you were getting ice cream or getting popcorn wins. So I'm telling you, good skills. And I think the main takeaway with the Jays this weekend, I have 2, is one with the Jays. I think the silver lining is I need to see them get a 9th inning guy. Jeff Hoffman, if they want to win a World Series or want to be there again in the end, they need to acquire a 9th inning guy at the deadline. Because Jeff Hoffman, and no offense to Jeff Hoffman, I think he's a quality closer, but I just think there's just so many blow-up starts, blow-up save opportunities with him that they need to go get a 9th guy to shut the game down. That's one. And the rest of the pen is great. Varland's great. They had guys like Nance who came in and pitched really well today.
Rogers.
Rogers, yeah. They're just missing a 9th guy. That's what it is. And I'm very shocked with how much money that they have with Rogers that they did not go out and try to get one of the guys this offseason for just to close the game. And the other thing is too, I know the A's were a trendy pick, and I know we were like, oh, wow, the strikeouts. I just think the A's are just going to be that team that are just going to strike out a bunch, unfortunately. I think they're going to be a feast or famine type of team. I mean, Shea Langoliers looks really good. Again, we talked about him. Him should have been at the BC potentially. Again, it was kind of a luck thing where, Smith and Cal are kind of like there in the conversation, and it's just you can't not take Cal after the season he had last year. And Will Smith is, one of probably, if not the best hitting catcher right now in the game up there. So, but Shea Langoliers had a good weekend for the A's. Again, I would like to see those guys develop a little bit more, because if they don't, I mean, the Denzel Clarks, Lawrence Butlers, the gig gets spooky.
Everyone's talking about them as like a sleeper team, the wild card, but they don't have the pitching to get there. The pitching is terrible.
But you would expect them to get runs, and the thing is that they were completely shut down by Gosman and Cease. Of course, Cease has some of the nastiest stuff, but everybody was completely neutralized. So,
yeah, and
again,
I don't know. Their bullpen stinks. The A's, I don't know. I just don't think they play Atlanta and Houston next week, and then the Yankees. I don't know.
It could get spooky. I think the Houston series, but Atlanta. I mean, I got to watch a little bit more about Atlanta to get a whole view. So, but again, that's week one. I mean, Netflix gets the clown of the week. I like NBC's telecast. We can talk about that. Quality telecast, having them on Thursday night for ring night, and they have tonight with the Peacock telecast is solid. So, but yet again, we'll be locked in again. William, anything else?
No, NBC puts in a lot of effort, and that's all we ask. That's all we ask, and they're doing a good job with it. So, hats off to them. That's all I got.
That's all I got. I mean, when will we be back? We'll be back Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday or Friday. Yeah,
Thursday or Friday. I mean, we got any series you're looking forward to this week?
I haven't even checked the schedule. Yankees are on the West Coast, which kind of sucks. Let's see. Early Monday.
Yankees don't have their opener till the Marlins next week.
Yeah, on Friday. Midweek, Boston, Houston, San Francisco, San Diego. Arizona versus Detroit is kind of interesting. Atlanta against the A's. Decent series.
Yeah. Who do the Mets play tomorrow?
The Mets. The Mets. They're in St. Louis.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it. I like I said, I just think the Mets are just comedy, straight comedy this year.
And then next weekend, San Francisco, New York. We'll talk about next weekend. That's all we got.
So, that's all we got. I'm gonna tune in and finish out this T-Mobile Park game in Seattle, Cleveland. So till next time, William.
Till next time, you hit on it. Thank you all for listening. Catch you guys later in the week. It is great to have baseball back. Peace out.